Elon Musk didn't lie to us. 2026 truly is the year of the Tesla Semi. The truck has been refreshened, with many changes compared to the version first unveiled in 2017, and just recently. Elon Musk officially published its key performance specifications on the website, ahead of customer deliveries expected in the coming months. Right now, let's break down these numbers to evaluate whether the refreshed Tesla Semi is really effective. Is it better, worse, and what is it still missing? Let's get started now. After Tesla updated the performance specification of its big rig, Elon Musk immediately confirmed it again on X, stating that Tesla Semi starts high-volume production this year. First, let's talk about the production-ready versions that Tesla has just officially confirmed. According to the latest information on the Tesla Semi page on Tesla.com, there are two variants available. The standard range with an estimated range of about 325 mi and the long range with up to 500 MeBs. Naturally, these two variants also differ in design. The standard range version is easy to spot thanks to its shorter frame. Overall, we don't see any increase or decrease in the Tesla Semi's range after the refresh. It remains just as impressive as the figures announced in the past. What's worth highlighting, however, is that these ranges are estimated at a gross combined weight of up to 82,000 lb, which is the maximum legal load for a Class 8 truck in the US. It's understandable that many people mistakenly believe the Tesla Semi only achieves 500 lb without a trailer, but that's completely wrong. Even at a combined weight of over 80,000 lb, it can still travel 500 miles. So, why does this matter? In the world of long-haul trucking, range anxiety has always been the biggest weakness of electric trucks. Diesel tractors like the Freightliner Cascadia or Kenworth T1680 can travel 600 to 1,000 miles on a single tank of fuel, depending on configuration and payload. But this is where Tesla flips the game. Their efficiency is extremely impressive, reaching about 1.7 kWh per mile even at full load. For comparison, a typical diesel truck averages around 6 to 7 hums per gallon. At current diesel prices hovering around 3.50 cents to 4,000 per gallon in early 2026. That translates to a fuel cost of roughly 50 to 67 cents per mile. Tesla claims electricity costs can be as low as 17 cents per mile. But let's look at more realistic numbers. Assuming an average commercial electricity price of 10 to 15 cents per kilowatt-hour, common for fleets that charge off-peak or integrate solar power at 1.7 kWh per mile, the energy cost comes out to only about 17 to 26 cents per mile. Once maintenance is factored in, the total operating cost of a diesel truck balloons to 60 cents per mile or more, including oil changes, DEF fluid emissions after treatment systems, and downtime for repairs. What about Tesla's electric drivetrain? Fewer moving parts mean maintenance costs can be up to 50% lower. Not to mention, diesel prices are highly volatile. Just remember the sharp spikes in 2022 and 2024. Electricity, on the other hand, is far more stable, especially when paired with renewable energy sources. Tesla's over-the-air updates and remote diagnostics also help reduce vehicle downtime, which can cost fleets 500 to 100,000 per hour per truck. If a Semi spends less time in the shop, that's pure profit. Moving on to charging capability. This is where real-world practicality is put to the test. Tesla uses the MCS 3.22 standard, allowing the long-range version to reach a peak charging power of 1 MW. Yes, megawatts, not kilowatts like the Model 3. And just last month, Tesla released real-world footage to prove it. In practice, you can recover about 60% of the range in just 30 minutes. For the 500-mile version, that's roughly 300 added during a lunch break. The standard range version likely charges at a lower power level. Tesla hasn't disclosed details for this variant, but we estimate it to be around 800 kW. Tesla is building mega charger stations along major US freight corridors in 2026, starting with pilot travel centers. By mid-2026, stations are expected to be online in California, Texas, and along key routes, such as I-10 and I-80. This network will expand to support thousands of trucks, with each charging stall delivering up to 200 kW, enough to fully charge a Tesla Semi in under an hour. The reality is that diesel trucks still win when it comes to speed per individual stop. But electric trucks outperform them in total uptime. Drivers are legally required to take a 3-minute break after every 8 hours of driving, so charging that overlaps with mandatory rest time minimizes lost productivity. In cold weather, The battery is preconditioned to ensure optimal charging, even though range can drop by 20 to 30%. That's comparable to the winter efficiency loss diesel trucks experience due to fuel gelling going through mountain passes. The semi-regenerative braking recovers energy on descent, something diesel trucks simply can't do effectively. Pepsi's testing in California's hilly terrain showed real-world range holding steady at 400 to 500 mph under load compared to diesel, where miles per gallon can drop to 4 to 5 when climbing steep grades. The Semi's instant torque from its 3 rear motors delivers stronger acceleration and reduces strain on the drivetrain. Combined output from these motors reaches 800 kW, about 172 horsepower, far exceeding most diesel trucks, which typically make only 400 to 500 horsepower, accelerating from 0 to 60 mph while fully loaded in 20 seconds. A diesel truck takes 45 to 60 seconds. That means safer merging and significantly less stress for drivers. The curb weight of the Tesla Semi is another key specification that has just been officially revealed, and it's actually a figure we had previously estimated. According to Tesla's website, the standard range version has an unloaded weight of under 20,000 lb, while the long range comes in at around 23,000 lb. These numbers are lighter than the early prototypes, thanks to Tesla's 14680 battery cells and its structural battery pack design. Tesla hasn't officially disclosed the exact usable battery capacity, but credible estimates and calculations closely align with real-world data and recent reports. For the standard range version, we estimate the battery capacity to be around 552 5 Wh. This figure comes from a simple formula. If you take the vehicle's range and multiply it by its energy consumption, you can derive the battery capacity for each variant. If that calculation is correct, then the long-range version carries a much larger battery. If that calculation is correct, then the long-range version carries a much larger battery, estimated at around 850 Wh, with some sources suggesting the figure is closer to 900 Wh when including buffers or total capacity. This lines up with Tesla's updated 2026 specifications, a Forbes report citing roughly 900 Wh for the heavy-duty version, and analyses from Tesla Oracle and other sources. The added energy storage enables true long-haul capability without an excessive weight penalty, thanks to advanced 40-60-80 cells, structural integration, and optimized aerodynamics. As we know, the 460-80 cell has addressed the biggest hurdle of dry electrode production. Tesla is now manufacturing these cells at scale, and they're no longer exclusive to the Cybert truck. Both the Model Y and the Tesla Semi will be using them as well. So, why is the official disclosure of the Tesla Semi's weight such a big deal? In the past, we saw plenty of sarcastic comments claiming the Tesla Semi could only haul Frito-Lay snacks, that it couldn't carry heavy freight because the truck itself was supposedly too heavy. At the time, the fact that the Semi could travel 500 mph led many people to assume it must have an enormous battery pack and weigh as much as 40,000 lb. The newly released weight figures for both Semi variants finally put those assumptions to rest. At a gross combined weight of 82,000 lb, the Semi can carry between 59,000 and 62,000 lb of cargo, comparable to diesel trucks like the Peterbilt 579, which has a curb weight of roughly 18,000 to 20,000 lb, but relies on heavier engines and fuel systems. While an electric powertrain is more energy dense, it's also far more efficient, allowing for similar payload capacity without sacrificing range. Critics like Bill Gates have previously questioned the viability of electric vehicles for heavy freight due to battery weight. But Tesla's engineering directly challenges that view. The battery is integrated into the chassis to improve weight distribution, enhance handling, and reduce tire and brake wear. And what about diesel trucks? They have to carry around bulky engines, transmissions, and exhaust systems, all of which are essentially dead weight. Now, let's talk about the performance features. Tesla has confirmed both Semi variants are equipped with 3 independent rear motors. This design not only delivers a powerful 800 kW of output, but also enables torque vectoring to improve traction in rain or snow. There's also a 25 kW electric EPO to power equipment such as refrigerated trailers or hydraulic systems running entirely on electricity with no need for idling. Diesel trucks often have to idle for hours to supply power to trailers, wasting fuel and producing emissions. The Semi, by contrast, has zero tailpipe emissions and can efficiently draw power directly from its main battery pack. This flexibility makes the Semi ideal for fleet operators like Walmart or UPS, which require reliable short and regional haul operations. In addition, the updated Semi is described as designed for autonomy, paving the way for autonomous truck convoys after 2026. The new version of the Semi will feature more cameras on the mirrors and along the sides of the vehicle to support this capability. Elon Musk has confirmed that large-scale production will begin at Giga Nevada this year with a target capacity of 50,000 units annually. This is an ambitious goal, but with design updates such as a Model Y-inspired light bar and aerodynamic refinements introduced in late 2025, many of the efficiency gains now appear to be locked in. What still raises questions is why the Semi's price has not yet been published on Tesla's website. Previously, estimates ranged from $180,000 to $250,000 compared to an average of $120,000 to $150,000 for a diesel truck. However, Elon Musk has never officially confirmed those figures, and it seems pricing is only being disclosed directly to companies that have placed Semi orders. We're not going to claim that the Tesla Semi is cheaper than a diesel truck, given Tesla's typical pricing. It's almost certainly more expensive upfront. That said, the pricing isn't unreasonable. Despite the higher initial purchase cost, the total cost of ownership for the Tesla Semi could be 20 to 30% lower than a diesel truck over 500,000 mi, according to a recent Forbes analysis of the 2026 rollout that translates to more than the 100,000 in savings per vehicle. On top of that, incentives such as IR credits, even after Trump-era adjustments and state-level subsidies, could further narrow the gap. Of course, there are still major hurdles facing the Tesla Semi that Elon Musk is actively working to overcome. The first, and most obvious, is mega infrastructure, which is currently being rolled out, but still at a relatively slow pace. From what we understand, most existing mega charger stations today are located at private fleet depots or dedicated test sites. Public access remains very limited, with only a handful of high-power charging locations outside of factory-adjacent facilities. Construction has not yet scaled broadly, and fully operational sites are still months away, with the earliest expected by summer. This creates a classic chicken and egg problem. Fleets are hesitant to place large orders for the Semi without dense corridor coverage. While Tesla is expanding infrastructure based on projected demand, compare that to diesel trucks. Refueling takes just 10-15 minutes almost anywhere. Thanks to the ubiquity of truck stops, mega chargers, while extremely fast, require major grid upgrades, permitting, and coordination with utilities, all of which naturally slow deployment. Looking deeper at real-world comparisons, consider PepsiCo. They've logged millions of miles with their Semi pilots, reporting energy consumption of 1.7 to 2 kWh per mile in mixed conditions, compared to their diesel fleet averaging around 6.5 miles per gallon. That's roughly a 40% reduction in cost per mile. In winter testing in Canada, range still held at about 400 MUs with preconditioning, while diesel trucks struggled with cold starts. Crossing mountain passes like Donner Summit, regenerative braking recovered the equivalent of 50 to 100 MU of energy. Fleet operators are paying attention. UPS has ordered more than 100 units for 2026, and Cisco is also running trials. Skeptics often point to charging queues in cold weather or range loss in mountainous regions. These are valid concerns. However, Tesla's software optimizes routing, and V4 charging cabinets are designed to operate reliably in sub-zero conditions. According to Tesla North, the refreshed design improves aerodynamics by about 10%, extending real-world range by roughly 5 to 10%. From an economic standpoint, the disruption is massive. The US trucking industry moves around $800 billion worth of goods every year. If just 10% of that shifts to electric trucks by 2030, that represents roughly $80 billion in savings. Based on what we've learned, diesel emissions after treatment systems often fail after around 200,000 MEB, costing 5,000 to 10,000 to repair. With the Semi, many issues can be resolved via over-the-air updates. And for drivers, the cabin is quieter, vibration-free, and full self-driving assistance reduces fatigue. One remaining challenge is large-scale battery recycling. But Tesla's closed-loop system already recovers about 95% of materials. As for grid strain, megachargers are optimized to charge during off-peak hours, minimizing impact. The Tesla Semi represents one of the most powerful tools in the fight against transportation related greenhouse gas emissions, particularly in the heavy-duty trucking sector, which is notoriously hard to decarbonize. Traditional diesel Class 8 trucks are major polluters. A single long-haul diesel Semi can emit around 100 to 120 tons of CO2 equivalent per year, depending on mileage. Typically 100,000 to 150,000 mems annually, and fuel efficiency around 6 to 7 miles per gallon. These emissions come from tailpipe combustion, contributing to global warming, urban air pollution, and public health issues like respiratory diseases. The Tesla Semi flips this equation with zero tailpipe emissions, powered by its massive battery pack. It runs entirely on electricity at 1.7 kilowatt-hours per mile under a full 82,000 lb load, even accounting for grid mix. The Semi slashes life cycle CO2 dramatically. In regions with cleaner grids like much of Europe with high renewables and nuclear per mile, emissions can drop 70 to 90% compared to diesel, even on average global grids. Real-world studies in Tesla's own impact data show electric trucks avoiding 50 to 80% of emissions over the vehicle's life, factoring in manufacturing and charging. For example, replacing a diesel fleet with Semis could save tens of thousands of metric tons of CO2 annually per operator. PepsiCo's pilots alone hint at massive savings when scaled over millions of miles. One Semi might avoid 500 to 1,000 tons of CO2 versus diesel, multiplying fleet-wide for transformative impact. This reduction is especially critical for freight trucking, accounts for about 25 to 30% of transport emissions globally, and long haul is the toughest nut to crack due to range demands. The Semi's efficiency, regenerative braking, and no idling make it a game-maker for lowering not just CO2, but also local pollutants in ports, warehouses, and cities. Europe stands to benefit hugely from this shift. The EU has aggressive targets under Fit for 55 and the CO2 standards for heavy-duty vehicles, mandating steep cuts of up to 90% by 2040 for new trucks. Diesel fleets face rising costs from ETS inclusion, tolls, and low-emission zones. The Semi, with its proven 325 to 500-mile range and 1.2 megawatt fast charging, aligns perfectly for regional and long-haul routes common in Europe. Tesla has already prepared the ground. The refreshed 2026 Semi has undergone European adaptations, including cab changes for homologation and minor tweaks shown at IVR Transportation in Germany. Tesla brought prototypes to Europe, demonstrated them, including rides, and confirmed the truck is essentially road-ready for EU regulations with small modifications. While the initial focus remains on North America ramp-up, Tesla is taking steps for Europe. Job postings for business development, executive statements, and planning all point to a post-2026 launch once US production stabilizes. Elon Musk has explicitly discussed European production during a 2024 visit to Giga Berlin. He stated it makes sense to produce the Tesla Semi in Europe at Gigafactory Berlin, hinting at future local manufacturing to serve the market efficiently, reduce logistics costs, and comply with regional supply needs. Giga Berlin, already a Model Y powerhouse, could expand for Semi assembly in the coming years, especially as Nevada hits 50,000 units of annual capacity. Deployment won't be instant. Regulatory fine-tuning, megacharger rollout adapted to EU grids, and fleet adoption take time,